Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. This is a bonus episode. If you're looking for the full episode, don't you worry, your pretty little mind. It is still coming your way. Over an hour and a half of wrestling goodness and bickering and arguing and me wearing a bald cap. You can go check it out. It's live right now over on the Patreon, or if you're on YouTube or free services, it'll be available for you on the Friday. Again, if you want it early, patreon.com/SantiZap. But in this special bonus episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast, we're going to be talking about SummerSlam. We're going to be giving you our predictions, our rhymes, our reasons, who we think is going to win, who we think should win. Sancho, before we jump into that, tell me about how you're feeling, the gut feeling of this year's SummerSlam. Are you excited about it? Are you bummed that some big names have been left off? I want a temperature gauge here.
I think I am very excited for it. There's a couple of factors that make it very difficult for me to be extremely excited because I am on vacation. As you can see, I'm in a hotel room, and I will be watching SummerSlam in a hotel room, pulling what you did, and I don't know if we're going to get a major return like you did with CM Punk. So
yeah, that's right. I forgot I did that. Right? Yeah.
I'm going to have to master that kind of excitement when it comes down to it, because there is so much brewing, I would say, in more the background of SummerSlam than the card itself. The possibilities of Judgment Day imploding, the possibilities of the return of Roman Reigns, like those are the kinds of things I feel are where my excitement gauge is. How about yourself, Santi?
I'm now more excited because I'm going to be at the show.
Yes.
I feel like the environment is going to, for me at least, somebody that's going to be there is going to help elevate the overall experience. The one thing I'm bummed about is that there's going to be a musical performance there. And it's not that I don't like Jelly Roll. Yeah, it's not that I don't like Jelly Roll. I think his music is fine. It's just that that's not what I'm there for. And I've noticed that in the past when wrestling, WWE specifically, tries to shoehorn in a musical performance, generally the reaction is negative. It's never like, oh, thank goodness we got to watch. Was it Hardy at Royal Rumble in maybe this Royal Rumble or the one previous, where everybody just was like, yo, can we move on and get to the next match?
That was in San Antonio. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have a feeling it's going to be the same thing here with Jelly Roll. It's just not what we're there for, dog. I want to get to the wrestling.
We easily could have had Karrion Kross and Xavier Woods there
instead of Jelly Roll.
Yes, please. No.
All right, folks. Well, we're going to go into things match by match. Sancho, let's start off with what I think, in my opinion, is the least exciting match of this card. I don't feel like they've done a particularly great job.
Wait, how many matches do we have on this card?
We have 7 matches on this card.
7.
With a 3-hour pre-show.
Doesn't it feel weird that 7 sounds a lot now?
It does.
After being 4 and 5, like, wow, 7. Woo.
Huge. Well, this is what one night of WrestleMania was. They did 7 and 8 or 7 and 7 or something like that for WrestleMania. So I think that this is going to be the sweet number for those big shows. I bet you that's what we get moving forward.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the match I'm the least excited about. It's Bayley versus Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship. I think the justification for the match is there, and I'm glad it exists. I'm glad that they're going to do something with the King and Queen of the Ring winners, as opposed to just saying, you're Queen Zelina, you're King Xavier.
There is that thing. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't like that. They haven't done that this year with either Nia or Gunther, which is great. But they haven't really gone beyond the justification for the match existing. They haven't really done a great job of making me want to glue my eyeballs to the screen to watch this match. How are you feeling about this?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I think is what we mentioned, my excitement is not for the match itself, it's for the possibility that Tiffany Stratton's going to cash in. It's kind of been teased a little bit. I think after we lost the men's briefcase, it got burned early. This is the time for Tiffany to cash in, to jumpstart the Tiffany Stratton championship run, because would be 1,000 times more exciting than what's happening with Bayley and her belt run right now. And I think the dynamic of Tiffany holding the title over Nia and Bayley, for them to chase after her, maybe to lead to an event at Mania, would be much more exciting to them than we had this buildup. There has been a buildup, Santi, but it hasn't been it hasn't been that needle moving buildup that we've expected out of someone that's a Bailey and a Nia. And I think it's because I think you kind of nailed it when you were complaining. Well, let's be real. Them burning the men's briefcase is true because there's too many storylines in that thing. And I know you don't like hearing that, but it's just showing you why you have to burn the briefcase in the men's world, because in the women's world, we know that Tiffany has it and that Tiffany is going to loom over Bailey and Nia and she's going to cash in. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I'm not of the mind that we get Tiffany Stratton cashing in. I do think that she makes an appearance. I think that we get a Fugazi cash in where it doesn't actually happen, or maybe Nia Jax has some plan up her sleeve to make Bailey believe that Tiffany is going to cash in to distract.
Wait, Nia said she was going to give her another briefcase.
That's why. We've talked. They've mentioned about how Nia's gonna get Tiffany a new briefcase, and I'm assuming that Tiffany's gonna get it on the episode of SmackDown before SummerSlam. And it would suck if this new bedazzled pink Barbie briefcase gets burned the next night, right? I feel like she's gonna hold that for a while.
Oh, like when she goes to cash it in, and then there's no contract.
Oh, let's not start those shenanigans again. Let's not do that. Oh, brother.
It would make sense, though. It would make sense for Nia to screw over Tiffy and not have a contract when Tiffy is primed to cash in on both of them.
Nah, you're overthinking it. See, the way
Why am I overthinking
you're overthinking it. Too many swerves.
You want them to sell merch. You want to sell pink briefcase merch.
Would you not buy one? Okay, unironically, I would love to have, if they do a Tiffany Stratton bedazzled pink briefcase in the background of my streams. I actually genuinely would. I don't think that happens. I do think that, you laugh about the whole merchandising thing, but I do think that it would be a reason as to why not pulling the trigger on Tiffany Stratton. But here's the thing. I think the Bailey championship run, I think I've seen it. I think I've seen it. And I think it's time
tapped out.
Yeah. I just don't know where else it could go. They missed the opportunity to follow up Bailey and Io Sky, which is what I think everyone wanted. Like, that shouldn't have been a one-off. They should have kept going with that feud for a little while longer. It had definitely had the legs. So I'm going to go with Nia Jax here. I think that Nia and Tiffany Stratton are going to be walking around as champion and Money in the Bank holder for a while.
I'm going to go with Tiffany Stratton cashing in on both Bailey and Nia, and Tiffany being the champion at the end of the day.
Okay. You're wrong.
There's nothing wrong about being right or wrong here.
No, it is. It always is. It always is. That's it's the only reason why we do these, just to determine who is best.
Does it make you feel a little bit special, Santi, when you say something like, "Where's Damage Control?" and then Damage Control runs out? And
it does. It does make me feel good about myself. A little pat on the back.
Little pat on the back. Santi has the script.
Script. He's got the script. He's never going to beat the script allegations. No, the best one that I've predicted so far, a month and a bit ago, I predicted that the Bloodline were going to be tag champions. We're going in that direction. And I also predicted before TNA started invading NXT that we were going to get a TNA tag team as the next TNA tag team, as the next NXT tag team champions. And it's going that way. That's if that happens, then maybe I do have the script.
Does Joe Henry appear at Royal Rumble?
Royal Rumble, yes. Yeah. Okay, well, dude, he's appearing on like lower thirds for Raw and SmackDown. He's definitely, if the partnership is still going on, he's showing up.
Will his concert be as good as The Rock's concerts, though?
No, The Rock's concerts are just too iconic. They're too legendary. They're too good.
I think it's tough for a wrestler to do a concert because, like you said, The Rock just owns it. I mean, Elias had some good ones. I liked Elias.
They were okay. I never was in love with them.
What about Rick Boogs? Remember Rick Boogs had some?
I'm booging out. I mean, his weren't concerts. He was just like jamming.
I'm trying to think of any other wrestlers that had the music gimmick. I mean, Honky Tonk Man didn't really sing. He just came out. Jeff Jarrett, maybe? Probably. I think I remember seeing Jeff Jarrett singing when he was in the 90s.
I don't.
I'm trying to remember anyone else who had a singing. Well, I mean, the Thugonomics, John Cena, you could argue.
Yeah, it's different, man. Different world. Rap battling and Yeah, no, it's different. It is different, though. It is different.
Best rap battle was Usos versus New Day. Come on,
that
dude.
was awesome. That was awesome.
That was so
Rated
good,
R,
man.
like your boy Xavier Woods. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. Sancho, you start this one off.
I think this has to be Braun Breaker's win. This has to be his win, considering the amount of buildup they've had for Braun to be this guy, to be the terror of the Monday Night Raw mid card, for him to just being goring everybody left and right. And this is the perfect opportunity to eject Sami Zayn out of the mid card title scene to put him back into the bloodline. We talked about it before in Wrestling is Cool, and you cannot have Braun Breaker lose 2 PLEs in a row against Sami Zayn, because then now you're getting into the who can beat Sami now, because you cannot have a Gunther level reign with Sami, because I don't buy Sami having that level of 666 days over everybody in the mid card. That's just not possible. And when Sami Zayn, a face, has a title, you're seeing that the rest of the mid card is kind of, I don't know, man. Iliad hasn't had a good run on the main roster. He's only had 1 win against Ricochet, and the rest have been losses because it has to be, setting up Sami Zayn to be a better opponent for the feud by having this, you know what I mean? It just feels like having Sami at top of the mid card feels like a stopgap for all the developing talent in the mid card. So Braun Breaker would be the great one to kind of be the top of the mountain, a test, so to speak, versus having Sami Zayn being unbeatable.
Okay. Look, what to me, it's a matter of predicting where the future is for both of these guys. If Braun Breaker loses, I can't see a path for him. I don't know where he goes. If Sami Zayn loses, I'm already seeing him teaming up with Jey Uso, feuding with the Judgment Day, getting involved with the Bloodline story. So there's stuff for Sami to do that doesn't involve him having to carry the Intercontinental Championship. So it's almost what I'm saying is that Braun Breaker needs to win this.
It's a must win. We didn't talk about that in Wrestling School, but yes, I would. Braun Breaker is in a must win situation. Yeah,
I think it's a must win for Braun Breaker. And honestly, like Baseman, let's pretend he doesn't win. The bare bones expectation is that he needs to somehow be a badass. He loses because he's too much of a badass. He gets himself disqualified because he kills Sami Zayn. That's like the only reasonable way that he can lose here, because part of the problem with him losing and Money in the Bank, Sancho, wasn't to me that he lost. It was that the advertised version of Braun Breaker on Monday Night Raw was not what we received on Money in the Bank. It wasn't the same badass that was killing people with spears and putting them through barricades and maiming them. We just got a regular dude that lost to one haluva kick. So I need on SummerSlam to, in some way, shape, or form, get the advertised badass. Ideally with a win. Yeah. Or worst case scenario, in a loss because he's just too brutal and too violent.
I think that WWE definitely set him up to be that violent character after he destroyed Iliop with one brutal spear on the outside. And I think I like that idea of Sami getting hurt, quote unquote, and Braun ignoring that and getting suspended. Because then you would go, this guy's too much of a loose cannon to be a champion.
And then the only thing that stops him is dun, 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 wah, 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 what the bong, bong. We got to get Brock Lesnar out there for Braun Breaker. Adam Pearce brings in a hired gun. Triple H didn't shoot down the idea of Brock Lesnar returning. Did you see that interview? That question?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they asked him about Brock Lesnar's status, and he didn't outright
didn't he say just Brock is being Brock?
He's like, it's really up to Brock. Brock is being Brock. He's somewhere up in Canada. Whenever he wants to have those conversations, we're open to them. So
and I don't know, man.
It's in the cards, bro. It's in the cards. But more than anything, we need a badass Braun Breaker. We need the advertised Braun Breaker.
Which is interesting because after he lost at Money in the Bank, he did have that moment standing tall, and he's been having moments of standing tall. The only time he hasn't stood tall is this last Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Where he kind of got haluva kicked to oblivion after the spear. So the spear attempt. I don't know, man. I think there is always a thing that wrestling fans, even ourselves, go, "Ooh, did this person get buried after a loss?" But it does feel different for how WWE has been positioning Braun Breaker to be the next big thing, and the next big thing cannot lose gold so many times. Because then, Santi, is it about the gold for Braun, or is it just about being that badass? Is the question. And the Steiners have always been about being a badass. The Steiner
That's
brothers.
I think the badass aspect is the most important thing.
Yeah.
I really think that the Intercontinental Championship could be a way to legitimize the badassness, but I think more than anything, the most important thing is protect his badassness. That's what you need to make sure we walk out of, at the very least, knowing that he is a badass, because that's what we didn't get at Money in the Bank.
It just sounds like I think of that Family Guy episode was, well, that badass is donating his entire check to the kids fund, the Art of Gold.
So I'm gonna go Braun Breaker. I do still think that he wins. I just think that there is a multiverse world where Sammy could win and Braun can still be okay.
Yeah, I'm going to Sammy with the DQ from Braun.
Okay, all right. Let's move over to the women again. Let's talk about Liv Morgan defending the Women's World Championship against Rhea Ripley. And what I think, aside from CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, is the best built feud going into this show. And we talked a little bit about this on the Wrestling is Cool podcast, that Raw has done what I think is borderline the unthinkable and created a main event women's feud with significantly less main event caliber talent on its roster than SmackDown. They've utilized what they have to far more efficiency than SmackDown has. Because the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley feud is, dude, it's legendary status for me at this point.
The year of 2024 has been the year of the Judgment Day still, which is wild to me to think that when Rhea Ripley went down with injury and then Dom and so many people were absent from Judgment Day that we thought that was the end, but they totally had the screen time. The virality of Liv Morgan and Rhea is astronomical. I've had 2 clips go back to back, over 2 million views on Instagram for essentially their whole segment that they had when Liv Morgan did her turnaround. The infamous, like, it's iconic. There's iconic moments in this feud that will go on the Hall of Fame kind of vignette, or those kinds of things for each of these wrestlers, and we will look back and talk about how they were able to pull this off. And I had my doubts, and I'm sure, and I've had a lot of people in the comments, and they react that this is still borderline cheesy. This is still very weird to have Liv Morgan straddle Dom and things of that sort. But I think they still pulled it off. And I think they didn't go into Val Venus levels of where they could have easily gone back in the Attitude Era days. And instead, we got this very sophisticated, chaotic energy from Liv and Rhea. Rhea still being the mommy and trying to take back what was hers in a very aggressive way is still cool. And Liv Morgan now being sent spiraling out of control is going to be interesting to see how it all comes to fruition at SummerSlam. And that's the thing that I'm talking about. The match itself, when it comes down to moves and finishes and things like that, it is not as interesting to me as the fallout from the storyline of the result. Does that make sense?
No. It 100% makes sense. Yes.
Right.
I feel like the match is an avenue to get to the next viral moment.
Right.
That's kind of what I'm feeling here. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Like, it's a good thing because to me, it spells that this shouldn't be and won't be a one-off affair. This is one of those feuds that has the legs to give us a women's Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood. That's where I think it could go. I really think it could give us a trilogy. This could be the late summer blockbuster for the WWE. And it could give us that rare women's Hell in a Cell match because the feud has been so good and so well built that this match at SummerSlam feels like step one of various steps.
What's amazing is where we were with this belt. We were in a weird purgatory transitional state with Becky Lynch and Becky holding on to it. And then that match were at Saudi at the was it
Yeah,
King and Queen?
it was King and Queen of the Ring.
Yeah. When you had Dominic Mysterio just walk out in a Liv Morgan match, and we like, what is going on? And from there, we've been on this roller coaster ride to now here, Liv versus Rhea. My question for you is: does Dominic get involved in this match, and if so, how?
I think he has to get involved in this match. I don't think that there's a way around it. I think that you could make an argument for other people potentially getting involved. We talked about the possibility of somebody like Raquel or maybe somebody like Finn Balor, showing his true colors, that he was aligned with Liv Morgan all along. But the one that has to be involved in some capacity has to be Dominic Mysterio. He's been too instrumental on this feud, and I know that Judgment Day had this moment saying that, like, Rhea, you're gonna go it alone. Damien, you're gonna go it alone.
Take care of your business.
Yeah. I still think that Dominic is gonna get himself involved in some way, shape, or form, because right now Dominic's character is the guy that unfortunately keeps burning himself on the stove. He's continuously being told to not do X. And then because he thinks that he should do X, he goes and does it anyway. He keeps getting, hey, don't get involved in the Liv Morgan match. Gets involved, accidentally helps Liv Morgan win. Don't get involved with Jey Uso. Gets involved with Jey Uso, actually triggers a feud with Jey Uso, and Judgment Day's taking L's. Don't get involved with Sami Zayn. Same thing. So this has become a common trope with Dominic Mysterio, and I think that even though he's told not to get involved in this match, he's going to get involved in this match. You ask how? I think that for step one of this feud, he accidentally helps Liv Morgan wins. The end game could be him on purpose down the line helping Liv Morgan win. But I think you have more legs with the storyline if Dominic still after SummerSlam comes out aligned with Judgment Day and with Rhea Ripley, just with an angry Rhea Ripley that doesn't like him because of what he accidentally did.
So your final prediction?
My prediction is Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio accidentally helps Liv Morgan win. Not on purpose. I think the on purpose comes later.
Like it's a letter revealed that the whole thing happens. I think, because I still, in the back of my mind, is the hotel key. It still is burned in my mind.
What did we call that? That was the Chekhov's gun.
Yes, it is still there. And I think it's going to be revealed that Finn Balor is involved in this. We didn't mention Finn Balor. And for me, the ending result, I don't know how we're going to get there. Like we talked about Triple H booking, the GPS is pointed north. And I think the ending destination is Finn Balor and Liv Morgan together.
Little rock and roll duo.
Yeah, and I don't know if this match causes Damien to lose his match against Gunther, because what Gunther loves to talk about is, besides, and I hope they drop this gimmick, him calling everybody street trash. Gunther has been saying, Damien, you surround yourself with all these other characters and it's distracting you from me, Gunther. I think that Damien will finally lose control of Judgment Day and get this on. Is like gonna be bothering him in his match against Gunther, and that's why he loses, because everything will just boil over. I mean, we've been waiting for this Judgment Day implosion, the pop to happen, and I think this is the first sign. Finn Balor causes Rhea to lose. So my prediction is Liv retains thanks to Finn Balor.
Okay, I think that it could absolutely go that way. I do think that Finn could, or maybe will, be involved in this finish in some way, shape, or form. If not this, the Damien Gunther, which we can go right into right now. I feel like it makes sense. Sure. Let's go into Damian Priest versus Gunther World Heavyweight Championship match. We have the King of the Ring qualifying to have this match. Unlike Nia Jax versus Bayley, I feel like with the little amount of time that they've had to try and build this beyond just I won King of the Ring, ergo I get a match, they've built a really, really interesting feud in the 2.5, 3 weeks that they've had to be able to build this, to the point where I feel like this could be a study. This feud should be studied as to how to build a good PLE worthy feud in 3 weeks, because they've done a fantastic job, in my opinion.
In what way? just to expand on that.
Yeah, in the way of making you care about the motivations beyond just I want gold. In a way to make it clear who the fans should root for and who they should be booing against. To make sure that in this weird dynamic of what would have traditionally been heel versus heel, we don't get this awkward situation with the fans of like who they don't know who to root for. So then the vibes of the match are thrown off because of the off vibes of the crowd. They've done a very clear job of not even turning Damian Priest into a full-blown happy, rise up guys type of babyface, but giving us enough of his motivations and goals and his background where you can say, hey, I like the cut of this guy. I like where this guy is coming from. And hey, that Gunther guy, I used to respect him because of how good he's in the ring, but I didn't realize that he was a bully, that he was this Johnny Lawrence from the 1980s Karate Kid, even though a lot of people think he was the good guy in that story. They've done a great job of creating very clear character roles in such a short amount of time in a situation where I think traditionally would have been really, really hard.
Would it be interesting, and I like to echo all that you said, would it be interesting if Ludwig gets involved? Where has been Ludwig? He's been off TV for a while.
I think it's more interesting if Vinci gets involved.
Right, Gio? Yeah.
Yeah, Ludwig is hurt.
Remember he got booted out?
Yeah, Ludwig is hurt. So we know why he's gone. But Vinci...
He got hurt?
Yeah. Ludwig's been out with I think it was a rib injury, so he's been hurt. Because remember, he was advertised kind of for Money in the Bank. He cut that promo about him being Mr. Money, and then he got injured, so he wasn't in it. But I'm not opposed or convinced that Vinci's not gonna appear. Like I think it could happen.
He hasn't been released.
Hasn't appeared on SmackDown.
Or NXT.
If you want a way for Gunther to lose that isn't him losing clean, because I feel like a lot of people would be upset with Gunther losing clean, Vinci's there. Vinci's a possibility.
Because if you think about it, it's a classic case in the movie world where the boss... You ever seen Carlito's Way?
Yes, great movie.
Okay. For those of you that want to see it, I'm going to have a spoiler real quick. But in Carlito's Way, Al Pacino's character lets go John Leguizamo, who's like a low-life street thug at the time, and he just overlooks him. And he, rather than getting rid of him completely, he lets him go. Later in the movie, Benny Blanco from the block comes back, and then he's the comeuppance of Al Pacino's Carlito. So, again, wrestling, nothing happens on accident. There's always a reason why. Because it was kind of out of nowhere to get rid of Gio, and I know they're doing it for Ludwig's singles run, but they could at least kept him around. He could have still been a valet for Gunther, and because he was still a very valuable asset. Because even though he was eating pins, he's a very good worker. So it'd be interesting to see is that something that Gunther did in the past catch up to him.
They never let Vinci get his pound of flesh back.
No, it's been what, months, 2-3 months almost. After Mania.
Yeah, it was pretty shortly after Mania, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest result would be, I just feel like the WWE has invested so much in Damian Priest as a champion that every promo after winning was him like, I'm not a paper champion. I've earned this. I've got it all. I'm not a transitional champion either. Like, I've never seen so much propaganda for the WWE to go against that notion for a wrestler before, that I think Damian has to retain here. Mm-hmm. And whether it be through, and I've always predicted this a long time ago, a chaotic way would be Liv Morgan helping Damian, because she has to get after Damian Priest, and that's been the last domino that Liv Morgan has not reached. She's reached Dominic, she's reached Finn Balor, and JD and Carlito are so dumb. Like, she doesn't have to do much. She gave him a PlayStation, and they fell in love with her instantly, right?
She destroyed the PlayStation.
Yeah, she destroyed the PlayStation. Not cool, man. So I think Damian retains, but I don't think it's clean. And it has to have shenanigans because Gunther has to look strong going into Bash at Berlin.
Yes. It's the Bash at Berlin part that makes me believe that Gunther's not winning here, because he's going to get his moment at Bash in Berlin. I think that they've done a good enough job to make us care and want Damian Priest to actually win, which is, I think, the first time that they've really done it, because in all his other matches, I'm like, I'm kind of fine if he loses here. Like, honestly, I'm good. But this time, like, they've done a great job at making me want to see him actually win, which may be the perfect way to break our heart and have him lose. So it could go that way as well. But I think a better crowning place. Look, having Damian beat Gunther, whether it's cheating, not cheating, legitimizes Damian a lot.
It does. And he'd be the second man to beat Gunther in like 700 days almost.
Yeah.
Or 800, whatever.
But then Gunther winning the championship off of Damian at Bash in Berlin would be a bigger pop for a new champion than it would be if Gunther were to win the championship in Cleveland.
Yeah, I know that, but I think when people want Gunther to win, it's not because, like, okay, there's us category of fans that know Gunther's good and that he deserves to win because just the way he performs in ring. But I'm talking about the fans of this dude's a bad guy who calls people street trash. Why should the WWE reward this man with the belt? That kind of crowd. Does that make sense? Like people that are just looking at it from the storyline of Damian and Gunther this whole time. He's been cutting promos, calling him a street trash, calling everybody street trash, bums. He's a major heel because this has been the first time that Gunther has been like really, really heelish.
Yes.
And calling people's bums and things like that and not apologizing for it at all. So I'm interested to see that notion if they reward this heel Gunther versus the heel Gunther that just works really well in the ring and just dominates everybody because of his ring work versus his heel on the mic work.
Well, that's the thing. Before, Gunther was a heel simply because he was better than everybody. And exactly. That, like, literally, that was his heel persona.
Team Iceland.
Yeah. And I think in this go around, they really want people to root for Damian. So they had to give him, detestable traits.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he drops those detestable hates going into Bash in Berlin.
Right.
Literally, I wouldn't be surprised. Because they kind of did it with Drew McIntyre, dude. Drew McIntyre was like quasi like good guy babyface going into Clash at the Castle, right? And then when he was there, he was a hero. At that point, he could have punted a baby and people would have been like, go Drew. And I think that's going to be the same for, okay, maybe not the baby punting part. I think that's going to be the same type of reaction that Gunther is going to get at Bash in Berlin.
I think so too.
So we're both Damian here.
We're both Damian. Wow. I'm Damian through shenanigans though, not clean.
I'm Damian shenanigans as well. I don't think Gunther loses clean.
I want to be a wrestler called Shenanigans.
Let's
such a dumb face.
That's so stupid. Oh my goodness. The Canadian Destroyer from Shenanigans. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, currently the only non-title match scheduled for this. I took the last one. I want you to carry this one.
Sure. As someone that's never been watching CM Punk during his stronghold at WWE, who's been recently really enamored with his run in AEW and just been washed up in the aura of the CM Punk and understanding why people are drawn to him, seeing his promos and just him alone talking is a ticket and it's an attraction for me. We talked about it in the pod that's going to come out on Friday. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you could get it now on Tuesday, as early as Tuesday. I feel that this is a must-win opportunity for CM Punk, and not only just winning, but he needs to show the world that he still got it and that he can still go. Not only that, because it will all those AEW naysayers or those tribal AEW people that want to see CM Punk fail, considering that he left them in a lurch, essentially. Well, he got fired, but he caused so much chaos with him being fired that he needs to show them that he still got it, and he needs to show the WWE fans that he still got it too. The entire feud between Drew, Seth, and Punk can go 3 more years, it feels like. There's just so much animosity between it. I know Drew and CM Punk has been manufactured animosity, but Seth and CM Punk, inserting Seth into the as special guest referee, has added a different wrinkle to this matchup that lets me know that they are invested more in Seth and CM Punk, and this is going to be the launch point for that versus Drew and CM Punk. I think Drew and CM Punk will be settled here at SummerSlam to make room for Seth and CM Punk. Now, I did say that all 3 of them could last 3 years, but I think Drew McIntyre is much more valuable asset going off and doing something else. And CM Punk and Seth needs to develop here. And whether it be Seth screwing over CM Punk, not counting. Remember in that Monday Night Raw promo that he was like, dude, I could count to 20. I don't have to count at all. It could be no DQ. I am the visionary. There's so many things that Seth can do to screw over both guys. I would think it's funny that he doesn't count either pins from both of them to show that he is the boss of the ring and that he has to be respected. At the end of the day, no matter what the result is, CM Punk has to have that vintage CM Punk performance from him where we could solidify him as being one of the GOATs. Because remember, you have to put this on a global scale here, dude. The whole world's going to watch CM Punk wrestle after his injury, especially after coming off of MJF versus Will Ospreay for 60 minutes. Next guy up, CM Punk has to perform, has to show out.
Yeah, I think you and I are in full agreement there. Yeah, so we talked a lot more about this on the podcast, but I do think that Drew McIntyre needs the win more than CM Punk. But what CM Punk needs is the vindication that he still got it and can still go and is still a hot commodity, and it was worth taking the risk to bring him into the WWE. CM Punk has that rare ability to be a draw, not just in the ring, but also whenever he cuts a promo. So he doesn't have to be that guy that has matches every single week. He could just be that PLE guy and uses his promo work to be able to build those. But if this match fails, if it falls flat, if Punk gets injured again, it doesn't matter how good the promos are moving forward. People are just always going to think of this. People are always going to think of, as Ryback would say, Fragile Phil. And I desperately do not want that to be the case. I want CM Punk to put out and show out and give out like the best possible performance that he can with whatever limitations that he might have. But I'm taking Drew McIntyre to win here. Also, keep in mind, just like Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, there's no way that this is the only match that they have. There's going to be plenty more between these two. I think that Seth costs CM Punk, and this is the first bullet fired in their WrestleMania 41 buildup. Because that's the WrestleMania 41 match. I don't think it's the triple threat. It's Punk and Seth. And I think that it happens here, whether it's on purpose or inadvertent. Maybe Seth goes to super kick Drew ducks and kicks Punk and costs him the match that way.
Doesn't Shawn do that on accident? Doesn't Shawn? I think I remember seeing, because this is basically Shawn Michaels as special guest referee.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm sure there's been those moments, yeah.
Right, anything could happen when Shawn's a guest referee.
Yeah,
and I feel like that Seth Rollins could do that. I see that as well. That's a good point.
Yeah.
A part of me does see a possibility that AJ gets involved. AJ Lee.
Oh, Lee. Sorry, I was like, they don't want none?
Not AJ
Styles?
No. I think having AJ Lee at ringside will add a lot of star power to this without actually having her advertised. Because if you see her and then her interacting with Drew.
Oh, that would actually be huge. That'd be so sick. That'd be so sick if that actually does happen.
And then, because imagine if Drew, because AJ Lee, I'm sorry to cut you off. AJ Lee is the type of character that Drew could literally grab her and throw her over the barricade.
Yes. Can't do that with Mama Rhodes.
Right. You can't. Hit her with the chair. You can't do that with Mama Rhodes. You can't do that with Mama Rhodes. Oh, that's what they wanted out of Backlash, but you can't do that with Mama Rhodes. But AJ Lee, if he got her hands on AJ,
bro, he Claymores AJ Lee.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
The amount of red that CM Punk could go, and he could go into another level. There has to be a reason why there's 7 matches on the card. I think one match does not go the distance. There has to be something that just sets everything off and it derails everything, and we don't get a full 15-minute match out of there, right?
And here's the thing: this match, if you told me it goes for 40 minutes, I'd believe you. If you told me it went for 60 seconds, I'd believe you. It has
Right?
the ability to go either way, where it's like something just makes it go completely off the rails right at the beginning, or
Right?
it just goes on to be a really violent match for the entirety of the 40 minutes that it could potentially go.
I'm going to throw out a prediction. This is like a mini prediction. Both CM Punk and Drew knock out Seth Rollins on purpose.
Oh, I would love that. Yeah, I would love
Right?
that. Yeah.
They
I think
because
that'd be
just
great.
based the way he was on the Monday Night Raw, he's like, I want to put you in your place. You want to put you, and I think they just look at him and they shield bomb him or something. We're out the rip,
That would be so sick.
and then
Yeah.
Seth Rollins just lays down the whole time, and it's a no holds barred, no referee match basically because everyone's too scared to replace Seth Rollins.
So
We're cooking today.
Cooking. I'm going Drew McIntyre. You are
I'm going Drew thanks to Seth Rollins.
okay.
So not a clean win.
All right, let's bring it home, baby. Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa
It
for
doesn't
the
feel real.
I
It
know.
doesn't feel like a real match, man.
There's
Like
a
I was
ver-
looking at it, I was like, what is going on here?
for the undisputed championship. I have a problem with this match right off the rip. Is that basically the whole build for this match isn't to get us excited for Cody Rhodes versus Solo. It's to get us excited for the return of Roman Reigns. And I do think that to a degree that's problematic. Like we're building this off the back of a guy that's not been there for this feud. It's just, the classic get my tribal chief's name out your damn mouth, Solo Sikoa, is what's been happening in these promos. I think that Cody Rhodes wins. I see no world where Solo touches this championship. It's just about hearing the Roman Reigns tribal chief music. That's where the show is going to end. Either them staring each other down, or maybe it's going to be Solo's bloodline standing across the ring from the original bloodline minus Jey Uso, most likely. I bet it's Jimmy, Roman, and Paul Heyman that come out together.
So now that we get that out the way, and we know, because we didn't touch it on the podcast, we're like, what's next for Cody Rhodes after this feud? It's obviously Randy Orton. Randy Orton has been teased for a long time, and I think that's going to draw money as well. Let's just say, what if Solo wins? All right. This is a different kind of, I know we're predictions and things like that, but let's just put this in this world. Solo is champion. And if Solo is champion and Roman comes out with that face-to-face, what will that do for you? Does it change? Does it change if Solo's champion?
It doesn't it makes the face-to-face definitely a bigger deal. It would definitely make that face-to-face a bigger deal.
Because part of being the tribal chief is being the undisputed champion.
That's what they've made it about, for sure. That's what Solo's motivation is. At least I will say those motivations are very clear from Solo Sikoa. Yeah, man, I will say, if Solo is celebrating and Roman's music hits and Solo is holding the undisputed championship over his head while Roman is staring him down, that's definitely a lot more hype than if Solo doesn't have the championship. I still don't see it. I mean, here's the thing, though, man. 2 years ago, I never saw any potential in Damian Priest being world champion, and now I'm wanting him to retain at SummerSlam. So who the hell knows? I'm picking Cody Rhodes because I do think it's the safe choice. But now that you mention it, Roman coming out, like, I feel like Roman coming out is a lot more impactful if he's coming out to an undisputed champion, Solo Sikoa. I hate it. I hate that you put this thought in my head. I'm still going Cody Rhodes, though. I'm not wavering.
Okay, I got you. The same thing is, there's so much fallout from Cody losing, though. Big fallout.
Yes.
Like major nuclear scorch the earth is inhabitable fallout. Because then it's like, why did we take the belt off of Roman for Cody just to lose to Solo Sikoa?
Solo, bro.
Right?
Right?
And then it just makes you go, wow, the bloodline is just being booked to astronomical levels when they sacrifice Cody Rhodes for the bloodline storyline. So what you're painting is the predictable future. The predictable timeline would be Cody doesn't get sacrificed to the bloodline, and Cody retains, and then bloodline business is bloodline business. But what I'm proposing is like bloodline business gets amplified to 11 if Solo is champion.
I hate it. But you're right. It gets amplified. But amplifying a shitty song is still amplifying a shitty song. You know, just because you turn up the volume on, it doesn't make it better.
Or when they're forced the summer song, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
all right, we get you really want this to be
All
the
right,
summer
Carly
song.
Rae Jepsen. I'm just kidding. Her song was awesome.
Hey, you better
I just
not
met
bring in
you,
Sabrina Carpenter in this. You know what I'm
and
saying?
this is
Sabrina Carpenter.
crazy.
No,
But here's
Sabrina,
my number.
I like Sabrina Carpenter over Carly, dude.
I only know one
Espresso?
Carly Rae Jepsen song, so
Well, that's all you need to know. But
that's fair.
how many Sabrina Carpenter songs do you know?
I think I also only know one.
Feather, please, please.
Yeah, okay.
Nonsense.
Maybe I know a couple more. Yeah.
Yeah. So is it okay? I would leave it up to people in the audience. I'm gonna predict just to add a little spice.
You're the worst. You're the worst. Oh, you're saying it. You're the worst. I hate you.
I'm gonna say it. I think Solo wins the championship because it's the most wrestling finish that you can think of, and Cody Rhodes is always down to clown.
I hate that term. I hate the term down to clown. You've used it before.
Like, Cody will do it. Cody did not want to give it to The Rock because it wasn't built up. But Solo has been invested in so much investment into Solo Sikoa as the tribal chief. You want to make him a paper tribal chief? Nah, it's stronger if Roman Reigns takes over from the undisputed, reigning Solo Sikoa. Wah, 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 wah. I'm taking it off.
Hang on.
Here
Here
we go. This is what the people.
I don't know if it'll come through on your end, but I learned it.
All right. Impressive.
I'm taking it off. Wah, 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 wah.
No, but I think that's the real. That sounds like such a Dusty Rhodes type of finish with Cody Rhodes losing.
I hate it. I'm going Cody.
You should hate it.
You're right. That's the purpose of it. It would be to hate it. Closing the show. All right. Well, let's wrap it up there. I do think Roman comes back in this. I don't think both him and The Rock come back. I don't think that there's room for both of them to return on the same show.
I don't know, man. It could be The Rock's idea, and then Roman comes out, and you know what? I come out.
And then I come out. All right, folks. Those are our predictions for this year's SummerSlam. Sancho is going to be live streaming the show. Sancho, where can they find your watch-along party?
You can watch along with me at twitch.tv/SanchoS. I will still be in the hotel room. Hopefully, the hotel room internet holds up, but we'll be posting our reactions, and hopefully things go on because TikTok has been coming down on those kinds of things. But please support twitch.tv/SanchoWest as well as Instagram at SanchoWest. I'll post a reaction there too.
Yeah. You can find me at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I'll be at SummerSlam. That's where you can find me. If you see me, say hi. I'll probably just be vlogging or
what if I shook your hand with an oiled up hand?
Ugh, that'd be gross, bro. No, I'd be so mad if somebody did that. It would not be funny. Dude, I think we might throw hands if somebody did that. If somebody did that, I think I might have to throw hands.
You're gonna be looking at all the hands you shake now.
I was like, okay, hang on. I need to put some light to it to see if it glistens.
Just do this, dude. That's always.
Oh, I'm a fist bump guy. I've learned that.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thanks so much for watching this extra bonus episode of the Wrestling is Cool podcast. Again, don't forget there's another full episode for you. Take care. Goodbye.